Hello, namaskar viewers. I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to the show, The Business Talk with Ajay, right here on your favorite TV channel, ITV Gold. This is the show where we talk about business related matters, not only US but internationally as well. And of course, Mr. Ajay Kumar of Science CPA Services gives his point of view on all those business related stories and shares his knowledge as well. Mr. Ajay Kumar, CPA and MBA with Science CPA Services, which has multiple locations in the state of New Jersey, can help you with your personal or corporate accounting matters, and for any accounting related matter or business related matter. If you want to start your own business, if you want to open a company, what entity is right for you, start from that, and through all the way payroll, bookkeeping, all kind of services the Science CPA Services can provide for you. Their phone number is 908-380-6876, and sciencecpaservices.com is their website, so do reach out to them. And now, as we are going to be talking about the business stories occurred in the just last couple of days in this week's show, and hopefully you will find them interesting. I'd like to welcome Mr. Ajay Kumar to the show. Sir, good to have you here again.
Absolutely, Sanjeev. Thank you. In this section, we bring the business news that you can use.
So what's keeping you busy nowadays? Taxes, not much of a taxes, but definitely to follow business stories and all the ups and downs and happening in the world of business.
Well, I'm glad you asked. So September 15th was the tax deadline for all small businesses, LLC, S Corp, that filed the extension. Now the next tax deadline is October 15th. September 15th was the tax deadline for the estimated taxes for third quarter.
Right.
October 15th is the new tax deadline, the next tax deadline that we are working for, and that will be for the personal taxes. So it always keeps us busy.
Mr. Ajay Kumar never stops. Anyway, our show always brings something very interesting, and we are so delighted to have a guest with us. Now, this gentleman named Sandeep Patel, he's an extremely successful business person. Is got the agencies and a distributorship of many products, food related products, and supplies all over in US, and not only to Indian stores but as well as American stores as well. Mr. Ajay Kumar, want to say something about Sandeep Patel?
Absolutely. I have known Sandeep as a business owner, as a friend, and I call him the commodity king of New Jersey. And he supplies on all ShopRite stores, on all Costco stores, all ethnic stores. You go to Sabji Mandi, Patel's, D-Mart, anywhere you go, you will see Sandeep Patel's name out there.
Nice.
Sandeep, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
Good to have you. Man, oh man, how all these products and supplying everywhere, Indian, non-Indian grocery stores, that's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Very good. Okay, good to have you. And, we'll be looking forward to have his comments also in the business stories in the show. Let's start with the stock market. We talked about last week also, and we continue to talk about it. Stock market has seen 2 days ago when it dropped over 1,200, 1,300 points. I'm talking Dow Jones, and S&P and Nasdaq also gave up significant percentages, right? This was the biggest drop in the last 2 years.
It's amazing how the market is behaving. I mean, on one hand, the Russian forces are pulling out, the Queen died, and the US market is suffering as if we loved Queen the most. I mean, Dow Jones down was 3.9%.
Yes.
S&P was down by 4.3% in one day. Never happened. I mean, last 2 years, as you rightly said, it's amazing how the stock market is behaving. And that's what you need to know. When there is so much fluctuation in the stock market, meaning people are not trusting their money to be putting in the stock market, that's when the commodity price increases. That's when the gold, the alternative investment methods are there. People have money. They don't want to invest in the stock market because they don't know what the stock market is going to be tomorrow. And that's why we have our expert, commodity king, Mr. Patel here.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead. So what you have to say, because one of the main reasons of this stock market drop on September 13th, which was Dow Jones roughly 1,300 points, is because the inflation report came out, and that was a little bit higher than expected. So what's your take on this,
I think food prices will keep on surging for a few more months before it stabilizes, and you probably see a downward pressure starting 2023 second quarter.
Right.
So basically, due to supply chain cost throughout the world, the commodity prices have gone up, and Ukraine and Russia didn't help with commodity prices as well. So hopefully things stabilizes before we see downward pressure next year.
I don't know when it's going to stabilize. So when you say supply chain, what exactly has affected in the layman's term? Because I know everyone's talking about it, but nobody really says what exactly is the cause of this. Milk is so expensive, fruits are expensive, vegetables expensive, restaurant meals are expensive. Where is the supply shortage there? I mean, why?
It's not the supply shortage. So you talk about transportation cost. So when you see a price surging and your gas and diesel prices going up, so it impacts your transportation cost. Shortage of labor. Labor doesn't want to come back to the market, so you see increase of labor costs going on. That directly impacts your costs on the product.
Okay.
Are there still issues, Sandeep, about that freight liner that the shipments are not coming through China and all those type of situations are still there, or is it stabilizing now?
And it's stabilized. The prices have come down by at least 10% in last month, and we're seeing month over month now prices are coming down as China is still in the closing mode. They haven't opened up. So as the demand of the product is not coming from China is less, the supply chain from there is pressure is downward from there.
Okay, so there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
So far, train doesn't come at the time. That's all.
Absolutely. Let's hope so.
Alrighty, let's move on to the next story. Twitter has been in the news lately.
Absolutely.
And but the main story that we have this week, and then I'll go to the related story. But go ahead with that one. Twitter whistleblower.
So a lot of people are talking about it. Everybody is saying there was a whistleblower on Twitter, and they accepted, they admitted that there are flaws in their the way they do things. There are flaws, and there could be a security breach, and there are a lot of talks about it. Everybody is talking about it. People are encouraging you not to use Twitter. But let's take a step back. The flow is not from outside. The flow that Twitter accepted is through their own employees. So their employees have access to certain information that probably they don't need to. And that's the flow they're talking about. That's what the whistleblower is saying, that Twitter does not have a proper employee control, content control policy over there.
And that's why some 200 million users' data was just run out in the public?
Absolutely. Unintentionally, some employees had access to something that they should not have, and this is what the cause was for the release of this information.
Okay, all right. Now, related to that, I just want to point out one thing. Remember, Elon Musk had announced that he was going to buy Twitter for $40 to $43 billion or so. Now, that matter is in the legal court. It's in the state of Delaware. I think hearing is on October 17th, if I'm correct. And Twitter is saying that, listen, we gave all the information that he asked for it. Elon Musk is saying that, something called bot, meaning, the fake accounts that were not given. And now he is using another excuse. One of Twitter's executives got a severance package. There was millions of dollars, and Elon Musk is saying that I didn't know, I only found out through the news stories that this person got the severance package, so they were not giving me a lot more information, that's why I'm backing out of the deal. But Twitter management thinks the deal is going to go through.
It's the same story. If you remember Hotmail, 20 years ago, when Hotmail was sold for $55 million, the price was based on each email address that Hotmail had.
Correct.
But a lot of email addresses were not in use or were bot addresses, robot addresses.
Yes.
So the deal was struck in a way that each email address will be worth $1. And then when Microsoft bought it for $55 million, they found out that a lot of millions of these email addresses were not used for several years. So they were not even active address. So the deal legally did not say each dollar for active email address. They just said dollar for each email address, and that's what they had to pay.
Let's see what happens. The business world is really watching on that legal matter, and October 17th is going to be hearing. What do you think? You think Elon Musk will be able to buy Twitter?
I don't think so.
No? All right. So that's good. That's what we like to hear. I like your comment in a short. Starbucks, many of us like to go to Starbucks every day just to have their flavored coffee. And obviously, you pay a lot of money for that. But now, in this story, coffee has nothing to do with it. It's a vanilla espresso triple shot.
Yes.
Recall, huh?
It's amazing. I mean, and Sandeep can explain it better, but a recall is an extremely complicated process. When you have a recall, the recall is not for everything. Recall is for a certain batch, certain ID. You have to find in each distribution channel And in the distribution channel, before it goes to the end user, there are a lot of points. You have to make sure that at every single point, that particular batch is recalled and is returned. Sandeep, you want to add something on this distribution?
So basically, every food manufacturer has to have a batch code in the back of the product, and when you recall, basically they'll publish particular batch code recalled, and they basically must know exactly where it was sold, when it was sold, and which retailer was sold for, retailer was sold to, and then basically that's how they recall the product back in the system. And that's by law, every distributor or a retailer must know exactly what to do with the product when they receive.
So for each batch number, for each item, you have to know who you sold it to.
Yes.
That's amazing.
No, but that's a one point, that those steps must be followed. But when the product is being recalled, because when company decides to recall the product, when do you let the public know about it? That is the key thing. In this case, it was August 15th, the product was recalled. But it was not till, recently FDA announced it that the product was recalled.
Absolutely.
That is not a good sign.
That is right. I mean, in the meantime, some of the people may have consumed it.
Correct, exactly. So you don't wait that long. If when an auto manufacturer, when they announce a recall or something, it's immediately, because the person's safety is at risk. Here, a person's health is at risk. So
Absolutely.
Coming from Starbucks, and Pepsi is also getting a lot of heat because of this, because they are partners in distributing some of the products.
Absolutely.
All right, so as we talked about Starbucks product being recalled, let's continue to talk about Starbucks and 2022 Investor Day. What is it all about?
Absolutely. So Investors Day is a special day that Starbucks enjoys every year, and they focus on the high margin product, and they try to remove the low margin products every year to bring the best value for their investors. And you wonder who the investors are? You, the shareholders. So this is an attempt, this is a sort of a method for them to remove the low margin products from their menu and bring in the high margin products or variation to the high margin product. If they see the cold coffee is selling more, they will bring more flavors to the cold coffee as opposed to the hot coffee. And that's what they do on Investors Day.
And they've been doing it every year. Huh?
Absolutely.
Once a year they do
Absolutely.
that. Okay, all right. Interesting. Moving on to the next story is the federal government seen being aggressive for longer after U.S. inflation surprise. Fed Chairman Powell makes some comments here, some comments there. But most of the time, to be honest with you, in his long sentence, it's very hard to figure out what is he trying to say.
You're 100% right. So the way the indication is, based on all the speeches that we have heard, all the indications that we have seen so far, is going to be a rate increase again this month. The rate increase could be as low as half a point, 50 basis point, or it could be as high as 100 basis point, 1%. But it's almost certain, nobody has guaranteed it yet, but no, it's almost certain that we will see a rate increase. The fear is there may be another rate increase if the inflation is not controlled in November, and that could be another half a point, 50 basis point, depending on how much we have now. If they do 100 basis point now, they may not do it in November, but if they do 50 basis point now, the probability of having another rate increase in November will be very high.
Already.
Sandeep, what do you say? How do you see it happening?
I think there'll be at least 35 basis point taking place. And
I agree.
I hope Feds don't overdo it. So we can
This is going to be the last increase for the year 2020.
I think so.
We'll see what happens
Let's
in
hope so,
2020.
absolutely. Especially depending on how much they do it now. If they're only doing it 50 basis point, we may see another increase in November.
Okay. All right, let's see what happens. All right, with that note, we're going to take a short break, viewers, but don't you go away, because in the second half, we're going to talk about mortgage rates, what's happening with the mortgage rates, currency rates, gold rates, and British royal family, how rich they are. That's all coming up in the second half. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the second half of the Business Talk with Ajay, the weekly show right here on ITV Gold. And of course, Mr. Ajay Kumar of Science CPA Services joins us every week and gives his point of view and inside knowledge, shares his inside knowledge on a business stories in the show. And Science CPA Services, the full-fledged accounting firm located in the state of New Jersey, multiple locations, and from A to Z, any accounting matters, personal or corporate, they can certainly help you out. 908-380-6876 is their phone number, and sciencecpaservices.com is their website. Do visit the website, and a phone call consultation, Zoom consultation, in-person meeting, anything and everything is possible with Science CPA Services. And especially for this year, if you're planning to just put some money away or something, want to know before you file your taxes, they can help you out. All right, moving on to this second half. Once again, we're joined by Mr. Sandeep Patel, a businessman, but a very, very, very successful businessman with holding all the food products coming from India and distributing here in the USA to all the Indian grocery stores as well as non-Indian grocery stores. So we're delighted to have Mr. Sandeep Patel with us. All right, so as we continue to talk about other matters in this second half, let's talk about gold prices. Gold prices going down slowly by slowly. But AJ, what could be the reason why is it going down?
Absolutely, Sanjay. I'm glad you asked. So in this section, we bring you the why. We bring you the news that you can use. So you wonder why the gold prices are going down slowly and what the gold prices are going to be in next 3 to 6 months. Take a step back. The stock market is fluctuating. So nobody wants to invest the money into the stock market. The treasury yield is going high. And why? Because the inflation is high. So the interest rate that you can get on your FD, CD is high. Banks are giving as much as 6%. So people are taking more money and putting into their CD, in their fixed deposit. Not enough money in there for investing in the gold market. The rate in the gold market are decided by the investors, not by the people who are doing the weddings and the celebration. The demand for the gold is going down because there are not enough investors. Nobody wants to invest into gold. They can get 5%, 6% return in their fixed deposit. So gold prices are expected to continue to go down in next 3 to 6 months.
Okay, all right, so maybe that might be a good news for people who want to invest in the gold. Now let's go to the currency market.
Absolutely. So US dollar is going to stay strong. If you look at the world, we have Russia, Ukraine fighting. We have situation in UK market. UK stock market is suffering. The US market is suffering. So the US dollar is going to stay strong in next 3 months against the Indian rupees. We expect the dollar to be 1% to 4% stronger than what it is today. So for our viewers, if you can delay the payments in US dollar, delay it. You will save some money in next 3 to 6 months.
All right, delay the payment, delayed. Check is in the mail. That's it.
Check is in the mail. Absolutely.
Keep delaying it. All right, let me ask you a question, Mr. Sandeep Patel. Is because dollar is very weak against the US, and you get most of the products from India. How is that helping you to adjust prices here in the USA when you sell them?
Well, the thing is basically, inflation is also rampant in India. There's a crisis of inflation going up in India is very high as well.
Right.
It should help, as the product should get cheaper.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's not the case.
Okay. So let's see what happens. All right, moving on to the next story. They say 7-year itch is bad and 14-year itch can be very, very bad. We are in 2022. I'm taking you back to 2008. 14 years ago, when we had the housing crash market here in the USA, mortgage rates soared at that time. And now we are seeing the same thing again. 6% is, it's in the good terms. If you have a really good credit score and everything, then you get around 6%. Other than that, 6.5%. 6 and 7, 8, and rate can go high and high and high. So mortgage rates are soaring really, really high. And AJ, what do you have to say about that industry?
Well, if you take a step back, when the inflation is so high, when if this month and in November again, the US Treasury can increase the rate by 50 basis points to 100 basis points, so people are rushing to close. and this is creating a lot of pressure on the mortgages. Right now, if you can get 6%, you are lucky.
No, it's
a
very
good
hard to
deal.
get 6%, but some of the lenders are coming out with very, very attractive deals. Very attractive
Absolutely,
deals.
especially the ARM. To our viewers, if you can take the ARM deal, adjustable rate mortgage, what happens in ARM deal after 3 years or after 5 years, you decide,
It's a
you
5
choose.
years. It's a 5 year.
You can go
arm,
with
7
5
year
years,
arm, 10 year.
7-year arms, and you decide after that you have an opportunity to refinance. So right now, knowing the rates are high and knowing for well they cannot remain as high forever, you can choose to go with 5 years ARM.
3 to 5 years is a good time. The rates will go down.
Absolutely.
But you got to have really strong courage to go with 5-1 or 7-1 arm. Anyway, let's go to Europe. European stock market is also, not doing so well. It's also closing at a very, very low level. And US inflation data is affecting over there too.
Absolutely, it's everywhere in the whole world. I mean, everything is connected. You can't really find a company now in these days that's only doing business in US or in Europe. So when the US market is suffering, when the US market is tumbling down like there is no tomorrow, it will have an effect on all the other markets. We have seen recently that the European market is down significantly, all because of the US market.
Absolutely. All right. So let's see what happens in Europe. And while we're talking about Europe, how can we not talk about Britain, UK? Obviously, Queen passed away, and now it's King Charles. I'm so used to saying Prince Charles all these years, right?
Absolutely.
Now it's a King Charles III, and the stories are coming out, and the word is Duchy of Cromwell. That is the company, the portfolio that he really took it from almost negative and made it couple of 100% positive. And now King Charles III is gotten like $1 billion. This is his personal investment.
Absolutely.
They own Oval Ground. Oval is the best cricket field in the world, so they own that. They own majority of the high-priced properties in the London downtown, London suburbs, and outside London skirts as well. So that news is coming out that King Charles III is worth a lot of money. Even his son, Prince William, and Prince Harry, they have inherited millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
Through their grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, when she passed away.
I mean, the royal family has kept all these things as secret. Nobody knows exactly as how much the money was, but people are estimating that King Charles III has inherited at least $650 million. I mean, it's just depending on who you ask and who you believe.
You know, they keep a lot of things very confidential. It's like you never know. And the government is also with them. So UK government won't release a whole lot of information. Do they pay tax? Do they pay tax or not, or whatnot?
You're 100% right. They control the government.
Yeah.
Recently, not recently, when the Queen was alive and the Queen was there, they passed a rule in the Senate over there that the inheritance is not going to be taxable for the royal family. It's taxable for everybody else in the country except the royal family.
You know, we can just talk about this, the whole royal family and the money issue all day long. But let's move on to the next story in this show where we say the news that you can use. How can we leave sports fans out there? Obviously,
Absolutely.
we have to talk about sports. And the U.S. Open just concluded in the New York, U.S. Open tennis. And 20-year-old is a Spanish guy. He won the U.S. Open.
Amazing.
And that's amazing. The youngest one, I think.
19-year-old, yeah.
Yes, 19-year-old. So he won that. So my point is to relate the story that one of the well-known, the greatest tennis players of all the time, Roger Federer, has announced retirement. Mr. Patel, you take the story.
Yes, it's one of the best era of tennis. Roger Federer going to retire. You can't imagine that, almost 20 Grand Slams.
Correct.
And now basically, you got two more players left, which is Nadal and Djokovic.
Yep.
So basically, men's tennis is going to go into a new era with new players coming on
In
board.
my opinion, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Djokovic, they were the modern eras of very, very popular tennis players. After Andre Agassi and John McEnroe and Pete Sampras, those players were. These players really got everybody going after 90s, and they were really good modern era players. And Roger Federer,
63 Grand Slams combined.
Wow.
Three players.
It's always great to watch tennis, and we had to bring in tennis after Royal Family because
Absolutely.
Wimbledon is there.
Yes.
So Wimbledon title also counts. All right. Now let's talk about entertainment. Something very, very light. Brahmastra. Who has seen Brahmastra? If you have seen Brahmastra, then you definitely have contributed your little share of the $28 million so far that movie has made.
Absolutely. So we hear that they spent 400 crore rupees
Yes.
to create this movie, to make this movie. And initially they were talking about not being able to recover. But so far the news is, since the release, it's been more than a week now, the movie is doing phenomenal. Movie is doing very well.
Yes.
And a lot of people are liking it. So they are hoping to collect 400 crore rupees.
It's the Disney Star Studios and Dharma Production.
This is
Dharma
amazing.
Production is Karan Johar's production. Movie took 4 years in the making, and I think almost 1 year it was waiting for the release date because postponed many times. And
Absolutely.
It is. Are you a movie buff? You watch movies?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay. You plan to
Yes, I plan to
you plan
watch the movie. Yes.
Brahmastra. They
Yes.
say special effects and VFX and everything is really interesting, in this movie. So let's see what happens. And Brahmastra will continue. I think Brahmastra has really waken up box office because a few Bollywood movies really bombed at the box office.
You're right.
In the last several months.
And there's a new movie, and it's a new era.
Huh.
There's always a time like this.
Yes.
There's a new movie, Ramayana, is coming, and the budget is supposed to be 800 crore rupees for one movie.
Yeah,
And now, in these days, after Bahubali and after Brahmastra, now they don't show them the whole movie in one episode. Now they have multiple episodes, the trilogy, the main.
When you happen to get the accounting contract for this kind of
Absolutely.
movies, then it would be really good to know.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I would like to do an audit.
When we talk about movie, why not artist also? This singer who is absolutely phenomenal and sensational singer, how he became famous, that is a amazing story behind it. A 10, 12-year-old kid in Canada loves to sing, and then he gets into spotlight. His mother pushes him to it, and he becomes a worldwide phenomenon. That's one and only Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber lately has not been keeping good health because there are a lot of good reports coming out. He had that surgery done, this surgery done, although nothing official from him, but all kind of speculation is there. And it was surprised that when he agreed to tour India,
Right.
with this health situation where in the US multiple shows got cancelled, and now we hear what? India's tour is cancelled.
Yes, a lot of artists, especially during this time, comes from India to US and vice versa. A lot of artists from US goes to India. India is seen as a big market, ripe market, where people have money and they're willing to invest. They're willing to spend money for the right reasons. So, in these days, if you see the new shows that we have seen over here coming from India to US, all these shows are house full. People have enough money.
Yes.
People have been not going out due to COVID
Yes.
for last several years, last couple of years. And people are willing to spend money, to invest money, to go out and have the right entertainment now.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if Justin Bieber is one of your favorite artists that you listen to. he gets so busy in his work schedule, he hardly gets a chance to listen to it. But anyway, I just want to add one note. In June of this year, Justin Bieber himself announced that he was suffering from a rare neurological disorder. So my opinion is he's so young, and I think he should really focus on his health instead of signing off all these musical shows all over the world. So it's right now to focus on his health, and once he's better, then he can always continue to sing. We have come to an end of the show, The Business Talk with Ajay. First, I'd like to thank our guest, Mr. Sunny Patel. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for sharing your valuable suggestions, and all the best to you, to your business, and may it continue to climb, and may we see all our food products from India here in the USA.
Thank you.
All right. Ajay, as always, pleasure to have you. Thank you once again. Remember, CPA Services, a full-fledged accounting firm located right here in New Jersey. Any question about taxes? No question is a silly question. Do contact them, 908-380-6876 or sciencpaservices.com. I am Sanjeev Pandey. Until we meet again, so long.
Thank you.